What's going on, guys? Marcel Benson, investor and entrepreneur. Look, I got a really good video for you guys today. So earlier in the group, right, I'm in there, we're trading, and I posed a question to the chat like I usually do, right? It's always some sort of like random question because I'm always thinking about something, right? And I was like, yo, what do y'all think is an adequate amount of money to, to like live, and it can vary based off of like where you live and stuff like that, or whether it's a single household raising a child, whether it's a couple raising a child, whether it's just a single person, whether it's just a couple, right? So all these things are factors, but for the most part, a lot of people are realizing that, like, man, it's these wages that we're getting paid are just it's not enough to really live the life that you truly desire. Now, yes, there's a way to, to get to that with the money that you make, but it does take a lot of sacrifice. And I'll get to that in a moment. But I wanted to let you guys know that you don't have to settle for the amount of money that you're being paid, right? I'm going to break that down for you in this video of how you can give yourself a raise and you don't have to wait for your job to do that, right? I had, one guy in the group was saying, man, if you're living in Hawaii, you need at least $10,000 a month to live a simple life. Somebody in Georgia was like, a family of 3, you're going to need at least 10K. Right. Then there was other people that was just like, 65, 70,000 to get the job done. Even with a child, but this is in, a more rural area. So, it's so many different things that, different factors that can contribute to it. But the reality is that we all know that the wages that are being paid based off of what everything else is costing in the world, that inflation is squeezing the hell out of people. And people are really starting to understand what this whole disappearing middle class really means. I don't know if a lot of people took it serious at first. It was just like, oh yeah, they've been talking about this for years. But when you really just kind of like line things up, it's like you either getting rich or you're getting poor. The middle is kind of like it's kind of like a holding place. You ever been on a plane? They be in like a holding pattern. Right, they just be like kind of like going in circles until it's time to land, or go further up, whatever. Right, they in that holding pattern. Middle class is a holding pattern, and a lot of times we get confused and wind up getting comfortable in the middle and start to build a life that resembles the wealthy. That's where things can get very dangerous, right? So you can imitate the rich in the middle class, and then you'll eventually end up like losing a lot of money or being poor or having to be forced to live below your means, or you can start to live below your means voluntarily while you're in the middle with the potential to eventually go up. Now, today in this video, I'm going to give you guys a way that you can give yourself a raise, which will also ultimately help you get into that wealth category. Okay. I know some of y'all are like, oh, some people are not flashy. Some people don't really care to have all the bells and whistles of, in terms of material things. But I think we can all agree that, man, we don't really know what more than enough money is, like now. It's kind of hard to say because there's so many things that can happen, even when you're living below your means, right? So I want to break down wages, and then I want to show you guys how you can increase your wage. Now, in the United States, currently 3 to 5% is the average growth of a salary annually, right? That's the average raise that someone is getting on their job. 3 to 5%. I want you to think about this. The average wage increase is lower than sales tax. The average wage increase is lower than sales tax. I want y'all to really think about this. So you get a 3 to 5% increase on your job. Let's just do some round figures just to make the math easy on me. But let's just say you make $100,000, right? And I know that majority of the nation does not make that, but we're going to pretend, right? I know that like the average household income is like 77,000 according to census from 2023, right? 2023, 77,000 was like the median. The median income for for households, right? Just 2 years ago. So let's say $100,000. A 3%, increase. Let's just say, all right, now you go from making 100 to making like what 103, which you divide that by 12 and also add in taxes, and it barely moved. Your wages barely moved, right? It barely moved. Let's say you make 50,000, right? What 3 to 5% of 50,000, even less, right? So like I said, the median household income is about $77,000. So having a job, there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's actually something that can position you really well to do other things while you're, building wealth and taking care of yourself, right? Building wealth and building a life that you desire is 20 times harder when the main thing on your mind is, can I pay my bills this month, right? If you can get your bills and everything handled, right, through your wages, that's fine, right? Of course, there's levels to it. Like we do want to graduate to a point where your bills are handled by assets, because that just makes your life a lot easier and also allows you to distribute your time in more efficient ways. But while we're in the stage that we're in right now, like while you're here at the stage of needing a job, there's absolutely no shame in that, right? So ignore the Lambos, right? Ignore everybody on the internet saying that you can get rich overnight. Listen, it is a very high chance that you will not get rich overnight. It's a very high chance you won't get rich in a year. But check this out. It's an even higher chance that you can create a situation where you can give yourself a much higher raise annually than your job is willing to give you. All you have to do is budget it in, right? You start building what I like to call your freedom pot, right? Your freedom pot is not this thing that's going to take forever to build. That's retirement. Your freedom pot is money that you're putting to the side to create income for yourself. All right. Now, the beautiful thing about the stock market, which I teach, which I do every single day with the Prosperity Collective, shameless plug again, is that you're just simply leveraging money, and you can give yourself a raise at any given time. So let me break this down, right? Let's say you make $55,000 a year. And you say you want to make 75,000. So you want to go from 55,000 to $75,000 a year. Whoa, newsflash. Your company's not doing that. What's considered a big raise, like you really did your thing, 10%. Go look it up. Bureau of Labor Statistics, go look it up. Big raise is 10%. That's a big raise that your job is giving you. Right? So it's very, very, very likely it's going to fall somewhere between that average of like 3 to 5%. Now, if you want to go from 55,000 to 75,000 per year, right? And you can apply this to any salary that you have, right? I'm just using one. So if you want to go from $55,000 to $75,000 a year, that's not going to happen in 3 to 5% raise. It's not going to happen in 2, 3, 4. It's not going to happen in 5 raises. Do the math. 5. So that's 5 years, and you still would not have gotten from 55,000 to 75,000 based on the average increase in salary, right? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to not wait for the job to do it anymore. Be grateful that you have the job. Hold the job down. Do a great job in your job so you can keep your job. Right? We just talking about in this stage now. Well, there's other videos where we talk about leaving your job, but in this stage now, we just trying to get the revenue up. We just trying to get that revenue increased. Create a freedom pot. This pot is going to be the way that you are able to make income. All right, now I'm gonna break it down. You can have a goal of saving, let's say, $5,000 to $10,000. Now, a person working, a lot of times they may be looking to save $5,000 to $10,000 for vacation. They may be looking to save $5,000 to $10,000 for a car. They may be looking to save $5,000 to $10,000 for, like, I don't know, a deposit on something expensive that will be some sort of liability, right? Things. But it's very rare that the person working is saving to save themselves. Ooh, God. He be talking some shit sometimes. It's very rare that you save to save yourself. And that's literally what saving should be, right? You can't save your way to wealth, but you can save enough to create enough to save yourself. Follow me, right? It takes about $75 per day in the stock market, which is not a whole lot of money. I'll break down how you can make it in just a second. $75 a day will give you that $20,000 a year raise from $55,000 to $75,000 by just simply getting $75 a day. Well, $75 a day is pretty easy. Now again, let's talk about this freedom pot, right? If every paycheck we're putting a little bit of money into this freedom pot, we eventually will have enough where we can leverage just $1,000 to make 10% on that $1,000 per day. You know what 10% of $1,000 is? It's $100. That already puts you above that $75, right? For it to be fiscally responsible and conservative risk as it pertains to risk, you would probably need about, I would say, anywhere from like $5,000 to $7,000 in your account to be risking $1,000 per trade, right? Say you just want to scalp. Say you don't want to wait that long. Say you just get 5% on a trade. You do 2 trades for $1,000. You get 5% on each trade. That's $50. So now you got your $100, right? So now you got your $100, and you multiply that, by the year. We got what? We could do the math real quick. Let's see, 22 times 10 months is what? 220. And so 220. Let's see, 242, 264. Right? If you are able to just put a little bit of your check away and get to $5,000 to $7,000, you could be earning anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 extra per year. Right? So 264 trading days in a year. Multiply that by $100. That's $26,000, right? $26,400. That's a job's not giving you a raise of that kind of money. Oh, and mind you, this is just year one. Remember I said it was going to take like 5 years to get to just getting a $20,000 raise? Or somewhere around that. It may not even be that. This is just year one. Now, say you go off and do that for 5 years, but each year you're doubling that money, right? You're putting more money back into the pot, so that not only do you got $5,000 to $7,000 that first year to play with, so you're risking $1,000 per trade trying to get $100. Each year you raise what you're trying to get per day. So if we go $100 a day, we know year one, we're making 26,000, right? We go $200 a day in year two, man, we've added, 50 something $1,000 to our annual salary. All right, year three, we want to go $300 a day, right? And so forth and so on. And this is how you get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm gradually giving myself these raises, but I'm realizing that I'm getting more responsible with saving money so that I can make more money. I'm actually making more money. Oh man, it looks like over this time that I would have been anticipating a $20,000 raise over 5 years, it seems that my investing has now taken over my actual salary. So this is when we jump into the conversation of like, okay, do I even want to continue to stay here? But we can't have that mindset in the beginning. Because if it's like, oh, I want to leave here now, then you're going to miss the journey. You're going to miss all the lessons. You're going to miss everything that comes along with the time frame that it takes for you to actually make that money. So here's what's going to happen. In the process, you're going to get better at trading, which is going to serve you for the rest of your life, right? You now have more income to not just put away to your freedom pot, but to also live, and bills are further in the back of your mind. You know what that ultimately does? That makes you more creative. When you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's survival that's the lowest, right? Once we can get out of that mode, then we can start to work our way up to self-actualization and get to a point where we actually feel like we are living a life that is aligned with our true being, right? But it's a process to get there. Don't let anybody shame you about where you currently are. Understand that where you currently are is making the way for where you're ultimately going to be. So let's let these dollars add up. Let's go, get that money from that job, but don't go spend it and create a life around it that you can't escape from. Let's try to live below our means, right? Let's try not to focus too much on a bunch of things that we don't ultimately need, and let's make our efforts go into getting our freedom, that freedom pot, so that we can start making more money, right? Give yourself a raise. Don't wait for them to do it. Give yourself a raise. Don't wait for them to do it. Give yourself a raise and don't wait for them to do it. I want you to understand that, okay? If you need any sort of assistance or help, if you need a community, I know, because a lot of people that are embarking on a journey of investing or doing anything that's outside of the norm, right? You're not really wanting to move on the same frequency everybody else is moving, because you know that there's something else better, right? You know that you just got to get focused. You seeing people doing it online. You just got to get your shit right, right? Join the community. And here's the thing. I never asked for a dime before somebody seeing if something is for them or not, right? That's why we're doing 7 days where you can come and trade with us for absolutely free. Right? If after 5-6 days you realize that this is not for you, peace, no love lost, you will have so much knowledge that you can go off and use on your own. But what normally happens is people get in there and they realize, like, damn, this is what I've been missing. I've been missing that community. I've been missing that camaraderie. I've been missing like the the intentionality, right? I've been missing the people right there to hold me accountable. I've been missing the lessons. I've been missing the ability to have people that are profitably trading talk to me on a regular basis, right? If this is something that sounds of interest to you, in the description below. Again, even if you leave this video and I never see you again, please start to buy your freedom, right? Start to invest in yourself. Start to get that freedom pot going with what you currently make. It doesn't matter if it takes a long time. Once you get there and you can start leveraging that money to make more money for yourself, you can then give yourself a raise, and that's when the fun starts, okay? Marcel Benson, it's always love over here. I appreciate you guys stopping by the channel. If this was helpful, it would be so huge if you just like hit that subscribe button, right? I'm on the way to 1,000 subscribers, and that's when we start having some fun. All right, peace.